Hi, my name is Edgar Giffenig. I am originally from Mexico City and I live in Salisbury, Connecticut. I have been
Okay.
playing tennis my whole life. I've been a competitor in a lot of age groups by now, and I am a coach. I've been coaching tennis for more than 35 years. Uh, a lot of high performance coaching. I was a national coach in the US, in Germany, in Mexico,
Okay.
and I have also coached all levels of the game, from little ones till my oldest clients are almost 90 years old. So I have coached high school, have coached college, I have pretty much done it all. I still love to play, love to hit, love to compete.
Okay. Well, let's start at the beginning. You said tennis all your life. So, did you grow up in Mexico City?
I grew up in Mexico City, and my grandparents, one was a Davis Cup player, and my grandmother was a national champion in Mexico for many years. So
Okay.
both my parents played tennis. My mother actually, she, although her parents competed in tennis, she started playing tennis and she was very good, but she uh, started fencing when she was like 12 years old and ended up going to 4 Olympics and had a silver medal in the Olympics in Mexico City. Was the first woman medalist in Mexico.
Okay. So wow, that's pretty impressive. So you're in the I'm trying to place my time there. The Raul Ramirez era around in there.
He's a little older than
No.
I
Okay.
am.
All right. So grown up
Yeah,
following him. Okay.
yeah, grown up
Okay.
following him.
All right. So we're from Mexico City, and then how do we get from Mexico City to Connecticut?
That's a long way, isn't it? Well, the first step was University of Texas. I played
Okay.
for the University of Texas. That's where I finished my college career. I actually graduated, worked for Procter and Gamble back in Mexico City for a few years, but I was teaching at the same time. I always loved the tennis part.
Right.
So I was finishing my job and then going to the club and teaching there. And after a few years, one of the parents of a junior player that I was teaching asked me if I wanted to coach his son for a year playing international tournaments. So I decided that was a good idea. And so I did that. And after that year, I really fell in love with coaching. So I went back to the University of Texas as an assistant coach and to get a master's degree, focus on sports this time.
Okay. All right. So now I guess that's the question. What do you get the master's degree in?
It was exercise physiology.
Okay. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So now you're still in Texas at that point. We haven't got to Connecticut
Yeah,
yet.
still in Texas, and yeah, I've gone to a lot of places since then. I started working for the USTA and traveling with their national team, and one of the players was training in North Carolina, so I started working privately more with him, and his name was JJ Jackson. And so we moved to North Carolina, to Hendersonville, North Carolina for a year. And after that, we moved to Tampa for 3 years. I was working at the Palmer Tennis Academy when I was not working with the United States Tennis Federation. Through my travels with the Federation, I got to meet some of the German coaches. And so I went to work in Germany for a few years as well, and then returned to Mexico for a few years, and then came back to the States. And I've been here for a long time.
Okay. All right. So in your travels, um, what's the most interesting, not just place, but interesting situation you've been in?
Well, I guess this was when when I was still a player. I was my first European travel. I was 15 years old, and I went to play Junior Wimbledon.
Okay.
And so my parents just say, okay, just go. I mean, so I just went with a
Great.
bag and just went to the tournament. And I after the tournament, I met some of my Mexican teammates because we were going to play an event called the Gallia Cup. And the Gallia Cup was a 21 and under event. And before that, we were going to travel a little bit and play some tournaments in Europe. So we decided we were going to go to the Sergio Tacchini factory in Italy to see if they would sponsor us. So we took a train from Nice. We were playing a tournament in Nice, so we took a train to Italy. I don't remember exactly where it was, but I think it was close to Milan, or I think we had to go to Milan. And so we saw this train that said Milan, and we just hopped in, and it was like an all-night train. And so when we woke up, the train was coming from Milan, so we went the wrong direction.
Go the direction.
Yeah, and so they told us, okay, it stops here, everybody go out. So we went out, and then we just hopped in the next train back in the right direction. And of course, when they asked us where our ticket were, we just didn't have tickets,
right?
Because the ticket counter was closed at 5 in the morning when we hopped in. And so they said, okay, let's go to the next station. You're gonna get down there and pay your ticket. And so we got down with the ticket man and went to pay our tickets. And while we were paying our tickets, our train left with all our stuff. So they kind of helped us call ahead, stop the train over there and get our stuff. And then after that, we just went back and we forgot about the sponsorship. So.
Oh, that's funny.
I will never forget that.
You've been better off trying to find the Schlesinger rep someplace, I guess. So.
That's it.
All right, so
we're our stuff.
So we're jumping around, we're moving here and there, but all in all, we're still involved in tennis. So
yeah,
I've been involved
all my life in tennis.
Okay, so what's the difference between trying to make it as a player and then saying, okay, I'm going to be a coach? At what point do you think I'm more coach than player?
Well, I think it becomes pretty clear after a while. If you're not doing great in college, you're probably not going to do great in the tour. So, I mean, growing up, I was always one of the top players in Mexico. And so I competed international events and things like that. But once you get to college, if you're not really one of the top players in college, it's pretty much time to think about doing something else to earn a living. I mean, you can obviously keep playing, but, and it just happened that I've really, I mean, it was really a choice for me. I mean, I could have easily gone into business, kept working for Procter & Gamble, things like that. But I just enjoyed the coaching a lot more. So.
And when you get is it more fun to get new people on the court or people that you've had for 3 or 4 years or so?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think basically coaching is a people's business. You have to like to be around people. I mean, part of it is the tennis, obviously, but a big part is that you're meeting people, you're talking to people, you have people that you've coached for many years, people that are new, people. And the interesting part about it is that you get people from all parts of life, you know, and on the tennis courts, everybody's equal.
Right.
So.
Right.
You just
ball doesn't care, right?
Yeah, the ball doesn't care. You become friends, and you get to know a lot of interesting people.
And now that you've settled, or at least it sounds like you've settled in Connecticut.
Well, yeah. I mean, when I was doing the high performance stuff, it was just on the road. And once I had kids and they were a little bit older, I just decided to do something else. It was just too tough to be away the whole time.
Right. Well, let's touch on that for a second, because that's something that most coaches don't quite get to deal with and don't understand. The difference between coaching at the club and the difference between coaching upper level players, you know, players on the tour. What is the difference between that?
Well, I mean, really the basic difference is that tennis is an international sport. So in order to reach your highest potential, you have to travel, you have to compete internationally. You're not going to reach your highest potential staying at home.
Right.
So you need to look for the best possible competition around the world. And so the International Tennis Federation has a junior tour somewhere in the world every week. And so a lot of the juniors go that route. And then once you become pro, you want to play the pro tour, it's the same situation. You just have to play international tournaments. So as a coach, you have to travel with the players. And so that is also why tennis becomes quite expensive at that level, because, I mean, somebody has to pay for that.
Right.
And it's not like baseball or something like that, that the team is paying for the coach to coach you and to travel with you and to do all that. So in tennis, the player has to, or the federation or the parents or somebody has to pay
right.
for the coach, the hotel, the flights, everything else. So it is very difficult for a coach to take somebody from a junior level to a professional level all the way through, because at each of the different levels, the demands increase on the coach.
Okay.
And so at some point, the coach has to decide, okay, do I leave this club where I have a salary, where I have a group of kids, where I have, where I have this security, and go on the road with this player who's pretty good, but being pretty good and making a lot of money, there's a big gap there.
Right.
So that is a decision that a lot of junior development coaches have to make at some point.
Okay, yeah, and I guess that's the point of how do you get them from pretty good to really pretty good. When you're, say, a couple weeks in Rotterdam or in Prague or whatever, what does that work like? Because obviously as a club pro, we go into the building, we teach, we go home. What else is involved in that when you're on the road in another country using your passport? I mean, how many other things are involved in that?
Well, I mean, the first thing is all the traveling, right? So you have to arrange hotels, flights, trains, taxis, transport, food. If you maybe in Asia, you might have to first understand what you might eat, right? And then see what the player likes, and then help to find a place. And then very important is to get practice courts. You have to have some practice courts somewhere, usually at the site, but usually they're limited at the beginning of the tournament. So you need to look for other sites. Something easy like finding balls. Sometimes it's not that easy to get enough balls at a small junior tournament.
And all of that, right?
Then you're looking for training partners for your players. So you have to talk to other coaches, talk to other players. Once the tournament starts, well, you do a schedule. If the player has a match, you have to warm up at some point. So you reserve the court, you go warm up. Then you have to decide if the player is going to eat before the match, eat after the match, make sure the player has everything they need for the match. Are the rackets strong? The water. I mean, that's the player should do that, but as a coach, you're kind of supervising.
Right. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you're watching matches, and you're watching your player's match, and then you're watching all the other players that he might be playing against. Try to scout a little bit. And after the match, you might practice again if it was an easy match, if they don't have doubles maybe. And once they're out of the tournament, then it just becomes a matter of for me, it's very, very important that they play a lot of matches when they're at the tournament, so that they just don't practice, because they can practice at home. But if you're on the road, just use the other players on the tour and really play matches. It's not the same as a tournament, but I mean, it's better than just practicing. So I always ask my players to try to find matches every day, so that they play the same amount of matches as the guy that won the tournament, for instance.
Oh, okay. I hadn't thought of it. Okay. Now, when you're looking at, how do you decide, or is it more of their decision, your decision? If you're going to play doubles, do you travel as a doubles team sometimes, or do you go, I'll play with that guy?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes you have a team of players that you're traveling with, and so they will probably play with each other. Of course, sometimes you have 3 players or 5 players, so there's one that's kind of left out. And a lot of times, once you've done it for a while, you start really getting to know the coaches, getting to know the other players, because everybody pretty much does the same tour or a similar tour,
Right.
or you see them at some tournaments, not in other tournaments, and then it's easier for the player to make connections. Also, the players themselves start having friends on the tour, people that they have played against, people
Right.
So that's how it works.
Okay. So we're back in our secure place in Connecticut. What
Yep.
is a I know there's no such thing as a typical day in the life of a tennis coach, but what is it that you try and do every day?
Well, I have a job that gives me a little bit of flexibility. What I'm doing these days is I run a summer club in Connecticut. It's called the Norfolk Country Club, and that runs middle of May to end of September. And it's just an outdoor club, 6 courts, and they have 9 holes of golf. So it's a lot of people here in the area where I live is people have some second homes here.
Okay.
And so in the summer, the population really grows. And so there are clubs that just open for that season. They don't have indoor facilities.
Okay.
So once it starts getting cold, it shuts down. And so I do that. So in the summers, I'm quite busy with that. So I'm every day at the club, starting early, leaving late. And normally I teach all kinds of lessons, clinics, organized tournament, things like that. But obviously, this is going to be quite a different summer. So
Right.
we don't really know exactly how it's going to be. It's a little bit strange to have a club which is basically meant for social integration and try to do social distancing at a club, right? So we're going to give it a shot and just kind of start and try to adjust as we go. Just limit the play to singles, make sure that just one person touches the balls, have hand sanitizer everywhere, take out the furniture so that people don't linger on the court, just go play and leave and things like that. And then we'll have to kind of adjust as we go. I don't think anybody knows exactly how to do it or what the best way to do it is, but we'll just have to experiment.
And you mentioned something that's, I think, is one of the keys to going to your local club is no lingering. I mean, that's what we all do. I mean,
that's why we go to the club, right?
Yeah, I mean, because you're asking the question when you get home, well, how long did you play? I played for about 40 minutes, but you were gone for 4 hours. Yeah.
That's it.
Well, what are you getting at? And that's what we do. So I was speaking with someone that operates or helps operate the U.S. Open the other day, and that's where they're at right now. They haven't gotten to that point where they have to make a decision, but if they have to make a decision on social distancing, they're like, what you sit every third seat in the stadium? I don't know. I can't quite grasp how that's going to work. And the people I've talked to locally or at their local clubs, like, my brother is a pro. Is like, once we come back, we sanitize the balls. I don't get it. I'm not sure what we can do, but I like to hear solutions. So if anyone out there has any, please let us know, because it is a different thing.
Yeah, I don't think there's a clean solution to this. It's just living with it for a while and then trying to do the best that you can. I mean, big tournaments, I think it's going to be difficult. I mean, the idea of having less spectators is okay, but the spectators still have to kind of get into the site, and they have to eat something, or I don't know, go to the bathrooms.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just not that easy to say, okay, we'll just take this amount of people. And
Right.
then the other thing is, part of the reason you go to the U.S. Open and those events is because there's a lot of people.
Right. That's it. I can't imagine it. And like you said, the reason you go to the club is because you know Jim, you know Terry, you know Steve, you know, and you know these people, and or you get to know more people. You
Yeah,
know,
that's right.
half the fun to me was being paired up in a mixed doubles bracket with no one that I knew, and like, hey, now I know, you know, 9 more people that I didn't know a couple of days ago. So, yeah. Well, all right. So you mentioned teaching the young and teaching the older people. When you have a 90-year-old on the court, what kind of instruction are you giving?
Any lessons that you teach, you always want to figure out why is the student taking the lesson.
Okay.
I think everybody has a different reason. And I think as a coach, it's very important to understand exactly what the reason is that they're taking the lesson, because some people just want exercise. They
Right.
don't care if they're hitting the ball wrong, if they're doing that. They just want to run. And
Right.
so if you're just kind of trying to convince them to hit the forehand another way and just standing there, then they're going to hate your lesson, right?
Right.
Some other people just want to compete, just want to place points and want to just kind of do that. Some people are really interested in improving their technique. Some people are really interested in improving one aspect of their game. And some people just want to kind of be out there and talk and just
Right.
have fun, you
Right.
know? And so you just kind of have to get a feel for what the objective is. And you have 85-year-olds that want to exercise, and you have 85-year-olds that want to still improve their technique.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just got to kind of, you have to approach everybody a little bit different. And regardless of their age, try to figure out why are they there and how can you help them, you know, how can you help them be fitter? How can you help them have a healthier life? And how can you help them enjoy the game more?
And from the conversations I've been having, that's the key. You have to be open-minded enough to be able to see what it is they want and focused enough to be able to give them what it is they want.
Yep. So you have to be very flexible, and you have to have the tools to be able to be on the court with anyone. Because I mean, some coaches specialize and they just kind of hate little kids.
Right.
So they're never going to be with little kids. And then some other ones really hate teaching adults. And some just love teaching adults and don't want to have anything to do with player development. And
Right.
some just want to coach competitive players. And things change. I mean, when I was younger, I was really focused on player development. I mean, that was my thing. I was never thinking about, okay, just being at a club and teaching everyone. And so I just wanted to coach the top players. That was
Right.
kind of my thing. And I did that a long time. And then I just kind of it shifted to life kind of took over a little bit and things shifted and I had other opportunities. But I mean, I still enjoy all kinds of players, and it's always fun, no matter who you're teaching. If you find if you find the thing that makes them tick, and then it makes the lesson very smooth and fun.
Okay. Well, you know, it's funny because I've had a few people that I've asked that kind of question to, and the ones that are doing it well, at least according to others, are the ones that go, just put them on the court, I'll figure it out.
Yep. I think, I mean, those are the coaches that really can work with anyone. But in order to do that, I think you do have to have quite a bit of experience. I think
Right.
the experience is what makes it happen, because you have the tools to apply to work with a 3-year-old. You have the tools to work with a high performance player, and you have the tools to work with an adult. And also I mean, a big part of the teaching is not just the tennis knowledge, it's just the people's knowledge.
Right.
You know, you have to understand how to treat people and how to yeah, how to communicate with them.
Right. Right. Well, Edgar, I really appreciate you being here. I really appreciate you getting up in the morning and getting on with us and talking about, you know, the search for Sergio Tacchini. I think that's a hilarious story. So I appreciate you sharing your time and your energy. Again, let everyone know the club you're at and how they can reach you.
Yep, it's in Norfolk, Connecticut. And I guess the best way to reach me would be through my email.
Okay.
My email is my last name, which is Giffenig, G as in George, I, double F as in Frank, Enig, and Giffenig at Hotmail. That is
Okay.
my contact information. So happy to help anyone.
Okay. Well, like I said, thanks again. Hopefully we'll touch base back here when we're able to get outside and play. So you would normally start right about now, right?
Yeah, we're already starting to play outside.
Okay.
And we're hoping things will start loosening up. Indoor courts can still not be used,
Right.
and so slowly, the next few, I think there's an first phase opening on May 20th, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, thanks again. I appreciate your time, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.